Welcome to 5 and 5 from the One Stop Co-op Shop, where I discuss 5 key elements of a game in about 5 minutes. I'm Michael Kelly, and today I'm looking at The Light in the Mist, a solo and cooperative, tarot-based puzzle game with narrative elements. And a disclaimer that I did get a review copy of this one. I tend to really like escape room and mystery games. I covered a whole bunch of them in a video pretty recently. But does The Light in the Mist distinguish itself from some of those others? Let's find out and get to the list. All right, so first at number 5 is the art in the game. And this is a full pro for me and my taste. So the most impressive art is on the minor arcana cards, which is the majority of the deck, because these are usually playing double or triple role. These little icons up here show which riddles these cards are used in. So they need to have a lot of elements at once. Like, for example, we just solved this puzzle last night. You can see there's little shapes on the right here, but there's also this kind of stained glass window thing going on, but there's also some other things going on. So you'll have sometimes 2 or 3 or 4 different elements in these cards that are required for the riddles, but it doesn't take away from the fact that while they are riddle elements, they're also, I think, really attractive. So yeah, for my subjective taste, I think the art is really cool, especially considering it had so many mechanical kind of riddle-based things to do at the same time. My number 4 point is the optional website and the hint system, which is also a full pro for my taste. So again, this is entirely optional. You don't have to use this, but they do have a hint system on this website. And it's great because it is very, very small and it goes in a lot of steps. You know how a lot of these riddle games give you way too much when you look for a hint and you kind of feel like you didn't solve anything? These will walk you through solving the puzzle beat by beat. So whenever you finally get it, you can stop and do the rest on your own. So it really allows you to still feel clever even when you get lost. It's one of the best featured hint systems I've seen in a game like this. Just really well thought out and nice to the player in terms of, again, letting them be clever when they want to be. My number 3 is the overall open structure of the game, and this is, again, a full pro for me. It's a really cool thing. So basically, you've got these major arcana cards, 22 of them, and each of them is, in effect, a riddle. As I mentioned before, these little icons are going to go with different minor arcana cards, and that's how you're going to solve the riddle. So the cool thing is that this game gives you great flexibility in how you play and really a bite-sized sense to the game. Each of the riddles, some have been a little bit quicker, 5 minutes. Some have been a lot more involved, 15 or 20 minutes. But you can just do one and you're done for the night. Or, okay, maybe we'll do 3 and then we'll stop there. And it's a lot of content. We're not quite done yet. But yeah, we've been playing for 3+ hours already and we're halfway through. So this is a great value in terms of how many riddles and how much content you get for the price compared to other escape room and mystery games. And then we get to the thing that might be the biggest deal breaker for some people, and that's the narrative element to the game. It's my number 2, and for us, it was a pro. So to explain, the basic idea is you'll get a little narrative intro for each of the major arcana cards when you choose to play it. It also gives you some hints about what you're supposed to be doing. And then when you solve the riddle, it's going to give you a word, you cross-reference it, you'll get a number, and each of these is kind of like a little vignette, and not to spoil too much, but basically one of your friends has disappeared, and you're kind of going back through her memories and tracking down what happened to her and her family with some drama. There are some trigger warnings here that deals heavily with themes of alcoholism, and I think the writing's really well done. I think the mystery is very engaging. I think the characters are, going to get you emotionally, especially if you can connect with these themes. But for people who might not like it, you're doing a riddle and then you got to stop and read sometimes 4 of these entries as you solve the words. And then you do some more riddles and then you read 3 of these entries. So if you're not into this, I think you definitely lose a lot of the joy of the game. If reading these things feels like a chore to you, I think it's definitely going to impact how much you like the puzzles in this one. And finally, my number 1 are the riddles themselves, because this is a little riddle mystery game. And for my taste, this is a bit of a mix. On the positive side, the riddles are quite varied. Again, we've done more than half of them, and we haven't seen any that are the exact same thing. But they're satisfying, they're bite-sized. I will say they're a little bit on the easier side, especially with the hints given in the narrative book, and if you need to, the hints given on the app. So you're never generally going to be stumped forever. I think it's a good thing, but if you want the toughest riddles possible, then they might not make you happy. But the biggest potential weakness, and this is what kind of brings it down to a mix for me, is that every single puzzle has to end with 1 or more words, and then that's where you get like the cross-referencing to go to the narrative sections. So it does feel like sometimes the puzzles are kind of progressing down predictable things, like how can they get letters to you. So yeah, it's a bit of a mixed bag. Some of the puzzles are better than others. So far, they've all been good, but again, they're not going to be like hard enough, or they might have a little bit too much sameness with the word mechanic that not all puzzle goers are going to love it. So overall, I can strongly recommend The Light in the Mist if you like escape room or mystery games, if you like games with riddles, if you like games with engaging narratives. I think it's got all of those things in spades. But on the other hand, you might want to avoid this one if you don't like narrative in your games, and especially if you don't like reading a lot, because there are a lot of those entries you dig through. And also, if you are a total escape room and mystery veteran and want only the toughest puzzles out there, I don't think this one is going to challenge you that much, but for me and my family, it's been perfect. Oh, and finally, as I mentioned, there are a lot of themes of alcoholism in the game, so if that's a triggering element for you, I'd probably avoid this one as well. Thanks for watching, everybody. Good gaming, and I'll see you at the next stop.